Welcome back to Top X Mystery Research Channel. Secure, contain, protect. The SCP Foundation is a fictional organization that protects the world from anomalous items, beings, and events. They contain objects that threaten humanity and secure them in special containment facilities if possible. Here are the 11 most monstrous SCPs ever identified by the SCP Foundation. SCP-682, also known as hard-to-destroy reptile, is a massive cold-blooded quadruped in the form of a giant lizard. He hates humanity and almost everything, so the Foundation keeps him in a giant acid cage to keep him from killing us. He is quite intelligent, more than most people. He has the ability to regenerate, even though 99% of his body was destroyed, he still came back to life. He can quickly regenerate flesh and can sprout new organs if needed. He can adapt to almost anything in the blink of an eye. If you use an attack, nuke, or even other SCP against him, it will never affect him again. To incapacitate him, the Foundation place him in the pool of hydrochloric acid where he spends his days. The Foundation is working on a way to kill the lizard, but it has proven resistant to everything they've tried so far, and only grown more bitter over the years. SCP-173, also known as the Sculpture, is a roughly humanoid figure made of concrete, with stubby arms and legs and a red-green face. Seems at first harmless, if not a little creepy. But take your eyes off it even for a moment and it might be too late for you. The Sculpture is incredibly fast and tends to snap the neck of anyone it sees, but the thing is, it can't move unless nobody is looking directly at it. Even SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile, has been shown to be frightened of SCP-173. SCP-106, also known as the Old Man, is an old, partially decrepit male-like creature with a permanent sly smile and hollow eyes smeared with black goo. This twisted creature looks like a bald old man in a vest. Not at first glance. He is covered in a caustic slime that allows him to easily pierce metal and cause pain to anyone who touches it. Everything it touches rusts, rots and cracks. Evil and predatory by nature, he is a sadist and likes creoles the most. He can walk straight through walls, disappear through floors and hang from ceilings. But his most terrifying ability is his control of a pocket dimension that he can enter and leave at will. It controls space and time in this dimension, and its favorite pastime is dragging anyone it can get its sticky hands on into the dimension for games of chase, where it seeks out and captures victims so it can torture them to death for fun. All in all, this is a very dangerous and terrifying SCP that can only be sustained by human sacrifice. SCP-610, also known as the Flesh That Hates, is a Keter-class object. It is an extra dimension that sometimes intrudes here to consume the organic material, to make it part of itself. It manifests as a skin infection that quickly outgrows the host. Think the thing crossed with the blob. It does not have its own singular form and is at least partially sentient. While the image depicting SCP-610 is undoubtedly the most hideous and terrifying of the objects, that is only part of what makes it the most terrifying. The fact that it is a highly contagious disease that can turn you into one of the horrors in the pictures gives you nightmares. SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy, is a Keter-class SCP. It is a thin, bone-white, hairless humanoid with long webbed arms and legs. This creature is usually as docile as can be, but it has one trigger: anyone who looks at it. When you look at his face, whether in real life, 4 pixels in a photo, or even if you look at a cleverly drawn picture of him, death is upon you. It's enough to send him into rage mode. It's hunting you. It will kill you. Nothing prevents it. Nothing can destroy it, not anti-tank weapons or SCP-682. It rips through reinforced steel like paper and travels at over 35 km/h. So far nothing has stopped him from killing his victim. Except for SCP-682, but that's another experiment. The first sign that he is in an aggressive state is pounding, accompanied by crying and covering his face with his hands. The scariest thing is how he cries and screams like a human. In less than 20 seconds, he goes berserk as he runs with his arms outstretched. And he won't stop at anything until he finds the poor guy who stared him in the face. The face in question has hollow eyes and a mouth that can stretch up to 5 times that of a normal human. Even if you look at it briefly, even if you see it from an indistinguishable distance, it rages, howls, screams and chatters, before the criminal rushes down and engages in swift violence with him. To prevent a fall, the Foundation usually puts a bag over the head, but accidents can and have happened. SCP-087, also known as the stairwell, is a Euclid class SCP. It's an endless staircase. This is an unlit descending staircase found on a confidential school campus. The lower you go, the darker and darker the stairs become. Those who are descending would feel a presence that begins to manifest itself more and more. They claim to hear what they believe to be the voice of a young girl asking for help.
Help me!
Of course, they rush to his aid, only to find that the stairs seem to have no bottom, endlessly descending, and the sound doesn't get any closer even as you descend for miles. Except in the third trial, where it was revealed that the child was closer than before, just before the cameras started. Most of the test subjects have had the misfortune to encounter him, the SCP-087-1. It is a humanoid male face that looks like some kind of paranormal creature, shaped like a pale ghostly face, but without nostrils, pupils, or a mouth. Once they saw him, some of them were able to escape, but others disappeared. At first glance, SCP-049, which also known as the Plague Doctor, appears to be a man dressed in a typical Plague Doctor outfit, with a black hooded cape and a silver ceramic mask with a long bird-like nose. However, it was later discovered that this costume is an extension of his body, permanently and organically fused with his flesh. Intending to rid the world of a disease that has not yet been identified, SCP-049 selectively chooses patients for surgery. His touch is deadly, and when he has a corpse to work with, he cuts them open and begins working inside them with strange medical tools and serums. After suturing, patients live again, but they are not the same. Lacking higher brain functions, they fade away until they find another human, at which point they go completely insane and tear apart their target. SCP-049 is smart enough to talk, but usually chooses not to, and when he does, he rarely deviates from the topic of curing the plague. Amphibians are fascinating. Their unique biological nature makes them oddities of their own in the animal world. And they all have quirks. Frogs have extendable tongues, some species have poisonous skin, the fact that their baby goes through a crazy metamorphosis. What can't these creatures do? Well, we'll have to count our blessings because we might end up with SCP-939 before we know it. SCP-939, known as with many voices, are bright red amphibians, each large and weighing over 400 pounds. They appear to lack many vital organs, with no nervous system, heart, or digestive system, and their elongated heads have no eyes and a large number of glowing, dagger-like red teeth. Although they are literally brainless, they have cool hunting tactics. They can imitate the voices of previous victims, usually repeating urgent phrases to lure the Good Samaritan to help, then deliver a well-aimed bite. They also exhale an amnesic chemical, so if a person manages to avoid ingestion, there's a good chance they won't remember what just happened and can be fooled by the creature's tricks again. So remember, the next time someone screams for help out of sight, check it's not a giant red amphibian. SCP-1155, also known as predatory street art, is a Keter class object. It is not only scary, but also the most exciting. One thing that scares people is inanimate objects that move of their own accord. Now add predation to that description, that is SCP-1155. This SCP takes the form of street graffiti, a large owl-like bird that attracts and then attacks and consumes people. It lures people close, or waits for people to come close, and when eye contact with it is lost, it tears the person apart with its claws. Once a human body is turned into a fetus, it usually lasts about 6 seconds, then moves to a new, different location, making it difficult to contain. This SCP is currently considered safe as it was in an abandoned and heavily patrolled mall. SCP-2086, also known as rerouting, is a Keter class object. As far as SCPs go, it's pretty simple. This SCP is a shape-shifting insectal creature that likes to disguise itself as public transportation. It hunts people. They look like big buses and are smart enough to use human bodies as bait or bus drivers to lure people inside. It travels along bus routes and even moves signs, and once a human is lured, it is taken to its resting place and molded. SCP-169 is believed to be a marine arthropod of enormous size, known as the Leviathan by generations of sailors and oral history. Initially thought to be a myth, this was later discovered when the Foundation learned the unusually quick continental drift. The archipelago has abnormally moved at least 3 kilometers from its original location. Due to its size, SCP-169 cannot and almost certainly will never be contained. No structure on Earth is large enough or strong enough to contain the creature. The exact location of SCP-169 is unknown, but imaging satellites and analyses of the Earth's orbital eccentricity indicate that it must be located in the South Atlantic Ocean, possibly around the tip of South America. Any satellite footage produced by SCP-169 anomalies will be retained and destroyed by the embedded agents. So, out of all of them, which SCP do you think is the most horrifying? Leave your answer in the comments below.